this Sunday night. We're going to start the week nice and slow with this confession from a fast and a furious girl. Oh, you'll see what I mean. I want to thank everybody who comes through during the live and also the recap or the replay. Please make sure that you hit that like button. It really helps us out as content creators. I, 22 female, slept with my friend's crush / situationship, a 24-year-old man, and I feel really bad. What should I do? Well, if you ask me, the first thing you should do is you should have gone to the gynecological and make sure that everything is still okay. All right? Okay, let's go ahead and start. To give some context, I was talking to this other guy, let's call him Jake, about 4 months ago after meeting him on Tinder. And the same week we started hanging out, I decided to invite him to a party I was hosting at my apartment. First of all, side note, apartment parties always not a good. Just if you rent a hall, have a dinner party, have at the club, at the lounge, but a house party. Jake, 24, asked me if he could bring a friend. Let's call him Kevin. And I said, of course. And he let me know how Kevin, 24, was still getting over his ex of 4 years and wanted to introduce him to some single girls. I had a lot of single friends at this party, and I said, why not? Mistake number 2, girl. Trying to run a low-end brothel up there. I digress. Let's continue. One of my friends, we call her Bella, was also recently out of a relationship, and I thought maybe they could hit it off. And if not, maybe one of the many girls that were there. It's given brothel. Bella was 21, female, is someone I would describe as a party girl. She was constantly wanting to go on two mans and drink all the time. For a while, I enjoyed it, but it just got tiresome. But I made sure Bella knew he was just looking for something casual. I met Kevin at the same time she did, and I thought he was cool, but I was so enamored by this other guy, I didn't think much of it. Bella, however, instantly wanted him after knowing him for 10 seconds. And whenever any other girl would attempt to talk to him, she would get upset. It's given single white female. Let's continue. Kevin was also the first to warn me that his friend Jake was bad news. Then why you bring him over here and have him try to meet my friends if it's bad news? Pretty soon I learned this myself, and I was really upset and hurt. Meanwhile, Kevin and Bella were starting to hang out at his place. Translation, getting it in. But it was very one-sided on Bella's part, and she became increasingly pushy about coming over and hooking up with him. It's given she tried the peen and she got obsessed with said peen. This was all going on while I was seeing Jake, so I don't fully know everything that happened and only recently found out about how everything ended with them. Throughout June and July, I was really upset over Jake and was pushing a lot of my close friends away, including Bella. Bella had mentioned in June, however, that she wasn't taking talking to Kevin anymore, which I thought nothing of. For about 2 months, I really just worked and went to school. Bitch, that's what you should have been doing from the first place. If you can't even manage one pin, you don't try to manage three. Then, a few weeks ago, I posted on my Snapchat stories that I needed help moving out of my current apartment, and Kevin offered. I really didn't know him too well, but I knew that he was no longer friends with Jake, and that was a comfort. I honestly just wanted to vent to someone who knew Jake. Why? Why? Go vent to the therapist. He helped me move and then offered to take me to the dispo for a new pen. What the fuck is a dispo? To the dispo for a new pen. Afterwards, we just got to talking. And we talked from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And it was the most heard I felt in so long. Nothing happened that night that alarmed me. But we continued to text for the next 3 weeks, and he began just helping me with whatever I needed. When my laundry machine broke, he let me come over and use his, and while the laundry was going, we watched a movie. Throughout the movie, I would get up to check the laundry, and every time I returned, he would inch closer and closer to me. Until he had his arms around me and his penis inside. No, not the penis part. Until he had his arms around me. At that point, I obviously realized that was what was going on. Not only that, but that I actually liked Kevin. And I had been suppressing my feelings for a couple of months. Not just because of Bella, but also because of his association with Jake. I ended up spending the night. I had like 3 loads. This bitch. Let's take that again. Excuse me. I ended up spending the night. I had like 3 loads. And I couldn't get there until 9 because I work. And loads of clothing. Loads of clothing. And that's when I felt really guilty. We cuddled all night and I woke up with him kissing my head. I wish I could end it right there. But I just needed to get this off my chest somehow. The other night, I needed some helping transporting some of my stuff, and yet again, Kevin came to my rescue. I bet he came and helped load my stuff and bring it back to my new apartment. This was when things took a drastic turn. After taking all my stuff, I expected him to give me a hug and head out, but instead, he followed me back to my apartment where we ended up watching Percy Jackson, and he ended up spending the night and having sex. Hi, Miss View. Miss View, she ended up taking 3 loads to the Francis boyfriend's situationship's house to make the loads, and ended up with 3 more in her. I apologize, Miss View. That is not a way to introduce. That is not the welcoming that anybody deserves. But we're at the end of the confession. We are at the end of the confession. Thanks for the kind words. There's my dear. Okay, let me go back. This was when things took a drastic turn. After taking all my stuff, I expected him to give me a hug and head out, but instead he followed me back to my apartment where we ended up watching Percy Jackson, and he ended up spending the night, and we had sex. I woke up extremely regretful, but I really had begun to like Kevin. I just have no clue what to do now. I am not posting this for sympathy. I acknowledge this is fucked up and unforgivable. I just wanted to know the best way to move forward. If everyone hates me, then they hate me. All I can do is own up to it. But how? Miss View says you threw those lows at my face as soon as I came in. I apologize. I apologize. The monologuing has to have a beginning, a rising action, a climax, and then a descending action. And you caught me right after the rising action, and after that, the climax comes. And now we're in the descending action. We are in the descending action. Okay, well, what do I have to say about this young lady? She is 22 years old, playing around and fooling around with a 24-year-old. You should have known that 24-year-old males, all they want to know is how to get their loads done, okay? They wake up in the morning and that's what's in their mind. They go to sleep and that's what's in their mind. That's all they need to do. Washy, wishy, like that's what they want to do. So you should have known better, but I am giving her a pass because she's 22 years old. She's 22 years old. You have learned, hopefully, you have felt the ickies and the uglies from this whole experience. You do not need to go out there and broadcast to everybody what you have done. Okay, this is something that you should just learn from and move forward. You are 22 years old. Take this lesson, young lady, so that in the future you're not trying to attach yourself to unavailable men. And I don't mean mentally and emotionally. I mean men that are already acclaimed for and taken. Okay? Have this be, although he wasn't taken, but he was, in the concentric circle, 6 degrees of separation, all that. Have this be a learning, teachable moment. This thing that you're feeling like a whore, like a salacious whore, have this feeling, learn from this feeling. You're 22, you're getting it out early. You know what I'm saying? So that when you are with, and you have meaningful friendships, meaningful people around you, you don't let your wetness and itch make you make these same mistakes and then ruin really good friendships and networking opportunities and all of that. So, you wanted to be fast and furious. You knew this man wanted you. You knew it. You kept coming around. Girl, you could not have. Listen, if it was too heavy for you, you could have Ubered. You could have gotten a little, cart to put your little clothes in there. Or instead of waiting for you to have 3 full loads, you should just do half a load or 1 load a week. Be an independent woman. Don't depend on the 24-year-old to come over, the one that was unavailable just 2 months ago. First of all, you ain't even letting the penis cool down. And here you are wanting to hop on it. That says a lot about you. Like I said, I expect the man to be dumb. I expect them to be dumb. You're the one who, are supposed to carry yourself with a different, he may be doing, you don't know what this man has been talking about or what kind of bets they have going on with the friends. And you could have just been another chess piece in the, another piece in the chessboard. Okay? Like, I just don't understand, no matter where you are, there's other people available that are not directly impacted by the people closest to you. You need to learn from this. You need to take this on, learn from this, and not do it again. Not do it again. Learn. You're 22. We can write this down as indiscretions of your youth. Nurse 21, if you are still in the building, I know sometimes you just listen to me and you put me down. Miss View says, thanks for the kind words at Naris, my dear. Okay? You're trying to be fast and furious, this girl. Like, listen, I don't feel any sympathy for people who quote unquote find themselves in situations with their best friends crush situationship or whoever, if they already seen them climax, if they seen their climax phase, or if bodily fluids were exchanged, you ain't got no business asking this boy, man child, to help you with your loads or help you move shit around or none of that. Have respect. Have some respect, not just for yourself, but for the friendship or the situationship or whatever the case may be. You don't want your girls to be walking around thinking that you are salacious, fast and furious, and nobody can trust you around their man. Well, first of all, I ain't trusting nobody around my motherfucking man, period. I'm glad that you saw the video, Miss V. I hope you're doing well and that you you have some energy in you, because I know. Unloading the loads. That's what it was. She was, I needed 3 loads. Like, yeah, girl, come on. Let me tell you something. I don't know any state. By now, every state, has where they come and they pick up your laundry. They do the drop-off service or whatever. Like, it's just excuses. She knew what it was. She knew. Women, a 22-year-old woman already knows that anytime she's walking about, penis is just falling all over her. Okay? It's just how it is. So if you thought that it was going to be a platonic and you just wanted to be heard, and you wanted to be heard by somebody who was close to Jake, why? Go talk to your girlfriends about Jake, or go talk to a therapist. You college age, you can go to the college counselor shit, and it's like $5 for free sometimes. As a student, no, you knew what you was doing. You knew exactly what you was doing. All right, and you said, it's my turn. You said it's my turn. Let me turn on this knob. Let me turn on this knob. Somebody says keep hitting it. Somebody says, I bet you that was a male that says, keep hitting it. Somebody says, tell Bella yourself, apologize with excuses, and accept that she may end the friendship because Kevin was never her property, but the secrecy and betrayal are yours to own. Miss View agrees and says that, yep, the snakes are all around. Absolutely. I ain't trust that. You. Police. Somebody says, he does like you though. And then she's going to come back and say, you think? If you don't get the fuck out of my face, girl. No, he was doing all that extra shit so he could hit it. Okay? So he can hit it. And you're going to play all dumb. Oh, I didn't know that by him coming over to help me move or let me use the washy-washy, the wishy-washy at his house. We could just watch some TV, and every time I came into the room, he was inching closer and closer and closer until I found his penis in my vagina. No, the most ridiculous excuse is one thing led to another. Really? One thing led to another. Really? Naris 21. When was the last time one thing led to another and you got closer and closer and closer, and you unbuckled the buckle and unzipped the zipper and dropped the drop, and then it was a micro penis staring at you? Micro. You know what I'm saying? It just happened. You just happened to find yourself facing a micro penis, Naris 21. Somebody says you don't feel bad. Absolutely, I agree. I don't think she feels bad. I think she's being boastful about it. I think I got your man and they I bought it. I got your man and ain't I bought it. That's what she feels like. Somebody says don't quit. No one likes a quitter. Oh, I'm going to end with this one. Somebody says, it's crazy you let him put 3 loads in you. Uh-huh. Naris is coming around to reaffirm and say that no, he has never been faced with a micro penis. He did not unbuckle the buckle and unzip the zip and drop the drop and then was faced with a 3-inch in front of him. That never happened, according to him. 2 inches? Could you imagine 2 inches? That's like a disability. It has to be a disability. I heard the vagina cavity is between 6 and 8 inches deep. That's what I heard. What the hell is she going to do with 2 inches? And that's 2 inches erect. You know what? We need to ask the AI. And you know, my AI is a very professional. Hi. Quick question. If a woman is with a man that has a micro penis about 2 inches erect, would she get any pleasure out of intercourse? Let's see what the AI says. Also, how deep is the vaginal canal? We got to know these questions. Yes, she can. Okay, Naris. So now that 2 inches not looking so bad after all, Naris. Yes, she can. Pleasure from intercourse isn't strictly dependent on penis size. And there's a lot of variation in what feels good for different people. On pleasure with a smaller penis. The vaginal canal's nerve endings are concentrated mainly in the outer third near the entrance. So a lot of the physical sensation from penetration happens regardless of length. Oh, there is a God. Most women need clitoral stimulation to reach orgasm from partner sex anyway. Naris, that's the man on the boat. You need to engage with the man on the boat. Direct penetration alone isn't the primary route to orgasm for most people with vaginas. Here we go with that. Here we go with the most people with vaginas. I'm about to type into this AI and let the AI know that if it has a vagina, then it's a female. No? Let me continue. So a couple can combine intercourse with manual oral clitoral stimulation or a position that provides more contact, like coital alignment technique, and pleasure isn't limited by size. Positions that maximize contact and depth control, like here on top, like her on top, or spooning, can help a smaller partner still create satisfying friction and fullness. Now, here's the thing, Naris 21. How is somebody with a micropene supposed to know this stuff? This is not stuff that was learned, taught in school. It wasn't. It absolutely wasn't. Emotional intimacy, foreplay, and communication about what feels good tend to matter more for satisfaction than size, according to most sex research. On vaginal canal depth, the unaroused vagina is typically around 3 to 4 inches, 7 to 10 centimeters long. When aroused, its length and the upper 2/3 expands, called tenting, often reaching 4.5 to 6 plus inches, though this varies quite a bit person to person, right? Because bodies are different. Last paragraph. So a 2-inch penis wouldn't reach the deeper end, but since most sensation is concentrated near the entrance, that's less of a barrier to pleasure than people often assume. If either partner is anxious about this, open communication and experimenting with touch, toys, and positioning together usually helps more than worrying about anatomy alone. Let me tell you, I come up here and I do the whole, jokey, whatever, but there is stuff to be learned here. I try to come up here and learn something. I did not know this. I always thought that it was hitting it right up all up inside. You know what I'm saying? All up inside, hitting it, touching all up inside the rib cage, if possible. But apparently the nerve endings are in the entrance, and that will make sense. That does make sense. So I'm glad that I asked the salacious question to my AI. Now, coming back to this Fast and Furious young lady, just learn from it. Learn from it. Know that you don't want to be seen like that, or perhaps you want to be seen like that. Sometimes girls just let but learn from this and move on. I think you need to have interventions and tell everybody your business? No, you don't need to tell everybody your business. I think it's going to create more friction, but I do think that particular friend is not really one that you valued, because if you valued that friendship, you wouldn't have done this. I'm wondering what the status of this friendship will be 4 or 5 years from now. It potentially will be non-existent, whether the secret comes out or not. Just because if you really cared about the sisterhood, you wouldn't have crossed that line. Do you understand what I'm saying? You wouldn't have crossed that line. With that said, I want to thank you guys for coming through. Happy Sunday. Happy beginning of the week. I do this every night. Every night I do this. Thank you, Miss View, for coming through. Thank you, Naris21, for always being my co-host and my co-scene partner here. And everybody who comes through later on, please hit the like button. I will see you guys tomorrow. Wishing you a blessed, successful week. All right. Have a good night. Peace.